What's up, family? Spencer-Mack here. It is pouring rain, kicking out here in Hawaii. I just watched this awesome video this morning by our brother Bobby on his channel Bobby's Perspective. I've watched some of his videos over the years. He's been vegan for the past 4 years, and this video he just shared about 4 days ago was about his trials and his ebb and flow going through the world of being vegan. And Bobby, I wanted to make this video as a response, and everybody who is watching this, I recommend go and watch his video so you can understand the conversation. I'll put the link in the description. But he's basically speaking on his trials, and after being a vegan for so many years, the necessity of having to supplement all of these different nutrients. And you know, you find a nutrient you needed, it'll solve things for a little while, then you'll hit something else, find the next level, solve things for a little while, but then we just run into these inadequacies. These deficiencies seem to be so common in vegans. And Bobby, I can just relate to you in so many ways, brother, because I feel we have these ideals and these morals that we want to adhere to. Just be loving creatures. If we don't have to kill, we shouldn't have to. And if it's more optimal to live on plants, a regenerative and more environmentally sound way of living, we should support that. And so I can really resonate with your trial that you're going through. Even after your teacher, your experience showed you the egg, you're still resisting it and just trying your best to find a solution. I commend you, brother. You got a big heart. I love and appreciate that. And we have a lot to share in common. My friend, I lived in Thailand for a couple years and trained Muay Thai. And one thing I also relate to with your expression is your high pain tolerance, and the fact that you train so much and being a vegan with that kind of a personality, you can go very far into some diets and subject yourself to high amounts of pain or discomfort and get much deeper than most people would before they quit. So I can resonate with that one. And I'm also, is it hard-headed? In the same sense as you are, because I have run into one and then the next and then the next, and I'm still adhering to the vegan ideologies, but I find myself, much like yourself, in a realm of highly supplemented dietary practices. There are a couple vegans that I've witnessed being extremely healthy. One really that comes to mind, the highest, is Dr. Amin Ra, and his diet is highly supplemented. So the gold and the insight that I see that we really get from this trial that I feel we're sharing is an education into all of the elements that we're composed of. And in the world of alchemy, as you probably know, we break things down into its pieces and then put it back together. And then we understand it. And that medicine, that plant, that experience has that much more potency to it because we understand it through and through. So that's been one of the greatest insights that I've had sharing this trial of learning all of the nutrients necessary. So something that has been really useful for me recently that I'd like to share a few things. One is the amino acid glycine. It's actually hard to get in plant proteins, and it's been shown the ideal amount is actually around 15 grams a day. So supplementing at least 10 grams of glycine a day is extremely beneficial, especially when you're speaking of these injuries, joint issues, hernias, because glycine is what's in like collagen, what you would get from bone broth or consuming the tendons of the animal and tissues. It makes up a third of collagen. So there's glycine, proline, and another form of proline in there. So these elements that are low in vegan diets are very necessary for the rebuilding of cartilage and tissue. And I've been supplementing those to the hilt and increasing my protein over the last month and a half, and it has been extremely useful for me because I started having knee pain, hip pain chronically, and I just got used to it. So the fact that it's going away now has been very exciting. So I wanted to share that idea, glycine, with you. And the individual amino acids are pretty profound in what they offer. Just my knee here, without knocking the camera over. It is pouring down right now. It's funny, Bobby, right now you're probably kicking it in the ideal weather in Thailand, because I know December, January, February, just nice. It's been pouring here. So anyways, the amino acids, and the other amino acid is L-histidine, which also helps with digestion and the production of bile and I believe digestive acids. It's also a stimulant, and it doesn't trigger insulin response, so I've been using it in my fasting windows. Also, if you supplement beta-alanine, it pairs with histidine to create carnosine, another thing you get from meat. And so if you supplement beta-alanine, I don't know if you do, chronically, you can actually become depleted in L-histidine. So those are two amino acids that I think are worth looking into, as well as like just branch chain amino acids are quite useful. On the other end, being free and open to consuming high amounts of salt, because the chloride in the salt is what makes up the hydrochloric acid for digestive function. Now, I could just be preaching to the choir. I haven't watched all of your videos, so these could just be reiterations, but increasing the salt content, especially for people who train as much as we do, I'm imagining, is an ideal thing. The salt is what increases the electrical conductivity of our body, the minerals, and an athlete can lose up to 2 grams of sodium in an hour. So 2 grams of sodium equates to 5 grams of salt. So athletes can be consuming 15 to 20 grams of salt a day. The ideal of what I've heard for the average person is 4 grams of sodium. Since I train, I'm closer to 6 or 8 grams. Roughly 2 grams per liter of water for a high intensity athlete is what I am experimenting with and what I've had recommended to me. So the sodium, the amino acids. So I've got a couple questions for you as well, Bobby. Now, is the creation and consumption of this almost man-made diet with all of these supplements, is that better than consuming the flesh of an animal? It seems like it could be separated from nature, the fact that we isolate all these things and that we have to consume this kind of diet to really thrive. Is that disconnected, or is that a greater connection? It's a funny paradox. Is this our nature to consume flesh? Are we resisting the fact of life? Are we not embracing the death, the reality of death? So that's just kind of a paradox I wanted to share with you. It'd be interesting to hear your insights. And also, my other question is, what do you think is in the egg? Do you think there's a specific vitamin? Is it the form of vitamin A that's in there? An amino acid? Some other elements that are missing? What are they? Could they be quantified and added to the self-composed diet? Fascinating circumstance we find ourselves in. Either way, I really appreciate individuals like yourself who are expressing their honest situation, especially when we get in these scenarios where we almost have become identified with a certain lifestyle or dietary practice. It can be difficult to break that. I feel we're very similar in the sense, like I said, we're hard-headed, and we'll do anything that we can to find out how to thrive while adhering to our ideals. And currently that puts me in a place where I'm in a highly supplemented diet, kind of living off of matrix goo. And I'm cool with that right now. Feeling a lot better than I was a couple months ago. So live and learn. And everyone, that is a lesson I would like to share, is share your experience openly and honestly. Don't get stuck in a perspective, but just share what it is you have learned, and let's all continue the conversation and live and learn and grow together. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out that video on Bobby's channel. And any questions, comments, ideals, experiences that could benefit, please post them down below. And thank you guys for your time. Lots of love and aloha. Peace.